The service brief can be found in the Get Help drop-down menu. From your My Task view, select Help. Scroll through the drop-down menu and select the current service brief. For example, in this case, Force Revision 4 TAC 17. Once opened, you will be able to review the latest information available. Ensure to verify both the service brief volume serial number and the Force Revision number. Current and applicable 3M messages should be in a central location on the ship's shared drive and be updated by the 3MC. A link to this folder can also be added to the Get Help menu for easy access for all users. Starting from the Work Center view in Get, select PMS Documents. This will show you a listing of all your MIPs, and this should be compared to a printed out copy of your LOP to ensure the information is correct and up to date. Ensure MIP control numbers and dates are accurate by selecting each MIP from the list on the left-hand column and by verifying the MIP control numbers on the actual MIP. Pay close attention to the month and year date codes. To print a copy of your LOP, select File from the Get menu. TFR Reports. Select your work center. Then select the Custom LOP option. Select the disk icon on the upper left corner and save to your local drive. To ensure MIPs and MRCs accurately reflect the work center's equipment configuration and that non-applicable MRCs are correctly lined out, select the Reports view in Get from the listing of reports which can be found on the left side of your screen. Select MIP lineouts. Follow the prompts from the Reports wizard. And select your work center. Then select Finish to generate the report. In this example, we will select CA01. The report will generate a listing of all MRCs within the work center that has been lined out. The report provides work center, MIP, MRC, periodicity, line out reason and line out signature. This report can be sorted by any of the above columns. Sort the report by line out reason by clicking on the line out reason column header. Pay close attention to MIPs that have scheduling aid number 1 or SA1 as the line out reason and review MIP line out hierarchy to ensure the most specific line out is being used vice the generic line out. MIP line out hierarchy is as follows. From lowest to highest. 1. A generic scheduling aid directing the work center to review all maintenance requirements. Omit MRCs that do not apply. No feedback report required. Note that this note is normally associated with scheduling aid number 1, but this is not always the case. Review each MIP's scheduling aid thoroughly. 2. Split MIP for MIPs where a piece of equipment is being maintained by more than one work center. 3. A feedback report authorizing the line out. 4. Naval message, ACN, or other directive authorizing the line out. After you have reviewed the generic scheduling aids, if applicable, conduct a split MIP review by sorting the report again by line out reason by clicking on the line out reason column header. Scroll to the bottom of the list to see all split MIP lineouts if applicable. In our CA01 example, there are 12 lineouts with split MIP as the justification for these lineouts. To review the accuracy of these split MIP lineouts, generate a split MIP report for the work center. From the PMS Documents section of the Reports page, select Split MIP lineouts. Follow the prompts from the Reports wizard. And select your work center. Then select Finish to generate the report. In this example, we will select CA01. Review the information in the lineout reason column and compare it to the work center with MRC's active column. The work centers listed in the lineout reason column should always match those listed in the work center with MRC's active column. If not, this is a discrepancy that needs to be addressed. After you have reviewed the generic scheduling aids and all applicable split MIPs, sort the report by MIP by clicking on the MIP column header. Review all remaining lineout reasons and scheduling aids from this view. Pay special attention to the 5000 MIP series to ensure the correct scheduling aids are being used for this shared MIP. A shared MIP is a MIP owned by multiple work centers but for different pieces of equipment for each work center. With a shared MIP, each work center is responsible for tailoring the MIP to match the equipment within their cognizance. This requires intimate knowledge of the work center by the work center supervisor and the LCPO. When reviewing the remaining lineouts, start with the first scheduling aid used on the MIP as a lineout reason and verify its accuracy by reading the details of that scheduling aid. For example, we will review MIP 1651/005 for Work Center CA01. This MIP has 11 scheduling aids. It should be noted that not all scheduling aids are directives to line out the maintenance requirement. Some scheduling aids provide guidance and amplify information about when and how to accomplish a maintenance requirement. Scroll down the MIP to find the first maintenance requirement that is lined out. From this MIP, we see that the D2R has been lined out using scheduling aid number 2. Now let's review the accuracy of this line out by reading the details and guidance of this scheduling aid. Scheduling aid number 2 states, MRC's D2R, 18M4, and DAR3Q are only applicable to ships with analog, Barton, gauge installed as gauge WGA10. If this scheduling aid is applicable to D2R, it should also be applicable to 18M4 and DAR3Q, which means 18M4 and R3Q should also be lined out with scheduling aid number 2 as the justification for the line out. As we can see, the 18M4 and DAR3Q are also lined out with scheduling aid number 2. The next scheduling aid used on this MIP is SA1 for MRC R4Q. For this example, it should be noted that this work center's digital electronic pressure indicator, DEPI, is manufactured by Prime Technology Model 9213. Upon reviewing scheduling aid number 1, it states, MRC's D1R, 18M2, R2Q, U1, and U7 are only applicable to ships with the digital electronic pressure indicator installed as gauge WGA10. There are 2 types of the DEPI gauges. Volumetrics Model 7809. Prime Technology Model 9213. SA1 further elaborates and dictates what maintenance is required for each DEPI. Since CA01 has the Prime Technologies Model 9213, as per SA1's notes A and B. 18M2 and RQ applies to this work center but U1, U7, and DAR4Q do not. So, as we examine the U1, U7, and DAR4Q checks further down the MIP, we should see these checks lined out with scheduling aid 1 as the reason for these lineouts. Repeat this review process for all remaining MIPs and lined out MRCs within the work center. Next, we will use the Lope Manager tool to ensure the correct equipment configuration for the work center. Select the Lope Manager view. Select your desired work center. Review the status of each MIP and ensure it displays normal. The count column shows the total pieces of equipment associated with the corresponding MIP. If the column count reads 0, the status will indicate on Lope, not in work center. There are 3 possible reasons for this status. 1. All maintenance requirements for the MIP have been lined out due to an authorized removal of this MIP from the work center by TICOM. 2. All maintenance requirements for the MIP have been lined out in error or without TICOM's authorization. 3. No equipment has been added to the MIP in SCET. A status code of on LOP, not in Work Center is a discrepancy that needs to be addressed or be justified by the Work Center. If the status code reads, on Work Center, not in LOP, this indicates a new MIP has been added to the Work Center and this new addition took place after the LOP was generated. This status code requires a feedback report to be submitted to TICOM to ensure the MIP is added to the LOP in the next force revision. For all qualifications, each Work Center should have in hard copy or electronic format. Department 3M Assistant and Work Center Supervisor Designation Letters. 3M 301 Maintenance Persons PQS. 3M 303 Work Center Supervisor PQS. And 3M 304 Division Officer PQS. For Work Center ER09 and Work Center with DCPO-related MIPS. Requirements include DCPO designation by Executive Officer. Basic DC 301 to 306 PQS. Quality Assurance 301. Craftsman PQS. Damage Control 303. DCPO PQS. DCPO NKO or CD step course. Some maintenance requirements require special qualifications for these checks to be accomplished. These checks can be identified by reviewing each MIP. Starting from the Work Center view in SCET. Select PMS Documents. Then select each MIP and review the rates column. In our first example, MIP 1651/005, you will notice that MRC 24M1 requires a qualified gas-free engineer in order to accomplish this check. The same is true for the U3 and U8 checks. In our next example, MIP 4688-029, you will notice that MRCR23Q has a 4-digit NEC code next to the ratings listed. This indicates a specific NEC requirement for conducting this check. The Work Center needs to have proof of these NEC qualifications for personnel conducting these types of checks. In our next example, MIP 6122-001, you will notice that MRCS2 requires a safety observer. This requires a safety petty officer qualification in order to complete this check. In our final example, MIP 6200/001, MRCA1 requires a DCPO qualified personnel and a division officer to accomplish this check. Continue this review for all MIPs to ensure that all checks that require special qualifications are identified. Starting from the Work Center view. Select Journal from the SCET menu and select Revision Finalized from the categories listed. Ensure the person listed as the authorizing authority is the department head. This should be the case for all revisions. To review weekly closeout, start from the dashboard view. Note that an access level of LCPO or higher may be needed to perform the following tasks. From the dashboard view, we will be focusing on the data presented in the AAR or Administrative Accomplishment Review column. Select the date range to be reviewed. Then select Refresh. In this example, we will review OI Division's AAR. From the date range selected, OI Division conducted 8 weekly closeouts.